Joining me now for more on what this means for birthright citizenship, we have clinical professor at Columbia Law School, Elora Mukherjee. Elora, thank you so much for joining us here. First, your take on the impact of this ruling and how it limits the power of lower courts.
Thank you for having me. So this ruling from the Supreme Court is monumental, yes, but it is worth noting that it is a procedural ruling. It rules on how the plaintiffs and states in this case may obtain the relief that they seek, which is blocking the executive order on birthright citizenship. It is worth emphasizing that the Supreme Court did not reach the merits of the question. The court did not opine on whether the executive order limiting birthright citizenship is constitutional or not. The court simply said to the plaintiffs that you need to do this in a different way. And that's exactly what immigrants' rights organizations and immigrant families have done. Yesterday, multiple lawsuits were filed, class action lawsuits were filed by immigrants' rights organizations and immigrants themselves seeking to block the enforcement of the executive order nationwide.
And Elora, when you look at the 28 states that have not challenged the ban, what does this mean for them and the folks living there?
So we need to see what it will mean. The order does not go into effect immediately. It is slated to take effect 30 days from yesterday, the date of the Supreme Court's ruling. We need to follow the class action lawsuits very carefully. If the lawsuits are successful, there will be a nationwide class of individuals that is certified by a federal district court, and they will be entitled to be protected from the executive order. If that happens, if it's a victory for immigrant families, then the executive order will not take effect nationwide.
And Elora, the Supreme Court did not rule on the constitutionality of the ban on birthright citizenship, as you said. But what do you expect if the Supreme Court does take that up?
The Supreme Court will rule, I anticipate, that the executive order is unconstitutional. This is not a controversial question. The 14th Amendment is clear that birthright citizenship is a right of every baby that's born in the United States, subject to very limited exceptions, such as for the children of diplomats. And this has been embedded in our Constitution for more than 100 years. There are multiple Supreme Court cases that directly address this issue. This has been a settled part of American life and executive branch practice for decades. There are also multiple federal laws that embed birthright citizenship into U.S. statutes. So when the court gets to the merits, I anticipate that it will be a win for immigrant families nationwide.
Elora, just one more question if you can here, and you may not know the answer to this, that's okay. But there are 4 words in the Constitution that a lot of people who say this is constitutional look at, and it's in the jurisdiction thereof. Does that mean anything to you in this case?
Yes. So for more than a century, those words have been interpreted to apply to every person on U.S. soil. In recent years, there has been an effort by fringe radical legal scholars to interpret that as not applying to all people in the United States and to somehow exclude with those 4 words so-called undocumented immigrants or illegal aliens. But it's worth noting that at the time that the 14th Amendment was incorporated into the Constitution, there were so-called illegal aliens, illegal immigrants in the United States. These were those individuals who were brought to the United States in violation of the ban on the U.S. slave trade. And the 14th Amendment was passed with those words to ensure that all people, including children of formerly enslaved people, including children of those who had been brought to the United States illegally, were able to become citizens of the United States.
Elora, I knew you would have the answer, and this is why you are a professor at Columbia Law School. Thank you so much for helping us out here. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Gio.
Thank you.